teachers, it's easy to get burned out in school, right? It's less likely to get burned out if you are recognizing as a teacher that your work is deemed to be valuable.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Powercast. I am your host, Jeff Pelzel, and today we are at EDGE in Nashville, our conference, and I'm with Dr. David Stashevsky from Daleville Community Schools. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's nice to have you. So tell our listeners a little bit about your school district and, one or two things that make it such a special place to be in.
Okay, sure. Daleville Community Schools is located between two cities. We're kind of a bedroom community between Anderson and Muncie in east central Indiana. We have four universities within a 30-minute drive, so that presents a lot of great opportunities for students, and since all of those are teaching colleges as well, good opportunities for us to bring in fresh individuals to supplement what we're doing in the classroom as well.
Nice.
We're at about 1,000 students, and about 50% of those are free and reduced.
Okay.
I think one of the more unique aspects of our school district is that 54% of our kids come from out of district. They cross district lines to come to us.
Are you marketing to bring the kids in? Because I did this as a superintendent. We had a marketing campaign to combat declining enrollment.
Our marketing campaign has actually been academic success.
Yes, that's what it was for us too.
Yeah. So back in 2001, the school district was on academic probation. That was the year I was hired in as an elementary principal. I spent the first year just observing what was going on, both pedagogically as well as looking at the curricular content. And second year we made some adjustments. Teachers were working hard. They just weren't necessarily working in the right direction.
Yeah. And
by year three, we had the highest state score, highest scores in the county, and by year five, we actually had the highest scores in the state. And so, because of that success,
that's a feather in your cap. That's amazing.
Well,
and your team, probably. Right?
Well, it all happens within the walls of the classroom, right?
For sure.
And they just needed a little redirection into what they were doing, because we got great staff, but that success led to an influx of students from outside of district coming in, and we've been able to maintain that. We have a highly engaged staff and personalized learning.
What was the secret in that movement, in that trajectory? What do you feel like? What was the foundation or roadmap or change management that led to that our listeners need to hear this?
Sure. You've probably heard of the 8-step process, or maybe? Okay. Well, we were doing that process before that process was actually codified in books. It has to do with formative assessments, and so
formative assessments I know all about. Yes.
Right. So that's what I instituted. I instituted formative assessments, and we based it on the needs of the students, as was broken down through the state assessments. So I was able to take the state assessments and kind of break it down into what areas the students were really struggling with. And then we instituted what's called a success period, which was only 20 minutes a day, but these were rotating 3-week blocks of students coming in based on what their needs were, intensive instruction in those particular areas, and it paid off well.
You were already, when maybe people were just starting to talk about RTI back in the day, you were probably ahead of the curve already with what you were doing then.
I think we were, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. As you're heading into this upcoming school year, challenges that you've been working on, what are you trying to, what walls are you trying to break down? What barriers are you trying to overcome? What's that looking like for the district?
Well, for us, especially this particular year, we have a new principal, new assistant principals coming in. And so building leadership capacity is very important. We recognize that what happens within the walls of the classroom is the most important thing that happens in a school.
Yep.
So teacher effectiveness is crucial.
Yep.
In order to get to the point where your teachers are effective, because they're islands,
Yep.
in there. They don't necessarily see what's going on in other classrooms. They don't usually have the ability to be able to, roam from room to room and glean what's the best practices on what other teachers are doing. So it's important for the building level principals to be instructional leaders. They have to be
You are
instructional
speaking
leaders
my
first.
love language in education right now. Keep going. I love this.
Yeah, well, and so there are two aspects of that. One is you need to provide professional development for those instructional leaders in the areas where increases their capacity to be able to diagnose what's happening in the classroom. Is what they are looking at as they go in for their informal observations or for their formal observations, is what they're looking at being, is that effective? And if it's not effective, why isn't it effective? So just being able to increase that capacity, but at the same time, removing any kind of barriers that they have regarding any kind of time that they would spend on routine tasks or even just data analysis. And that's kind of where I come in. And I'm on the operations side, so I just try to remove as much as I can from their plate with the understanding that time is then not filled with other things, but it's filled with things that can be translated directly into the classroom for academic support.
So talk to us about this development of this instructional learning. What does that look like then for developing your leaders? What's the protocols? What's the professional learning that they engage in?
One of the things that we're instituting this year is PD Plus, from PowerSchool, enabling them to get a very broad, quick overview of PowerSchool itself. We have quite a few plugins that we use from MBA, PCSB, and helping them to understand what those particular plugins do and what PowerSchool does, to be able to bring out the areas that would be helpful for teachers in the classroom, because teachers aren't going to see that admin side. So that's one of the things that we do. We have monthly professional development days at the district.
Okay.
So 1 day a month, 8 hours, a full day of professional development. And
and that's for site administrators, or is that for everyone?
That's for everybody.
Wow.
Yep, that's for everybody. So those are e-learning days, for the kids.
Now you're really getting to some of the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Because you have carved out time on an ongoing, regular basis.
That's correct. And most of those days we want the instruction to come from the administrators. And so as we are identifying areas that the teachers need to be more supported in, then those are the areas that we identify that, okay, for the administrators, how do we build capacity in them to be able to effectively deliver this to the teachers? Because they need to be the experts before they actually deliver the professional development.
I'm not familiar with Indiana in the sense of, do you guys use an instructional framework like
No.
Danielson or anything like that, or is it just connected to the state standards for teaching practices type thing?
Correct.
Okay, I really appreciate that. Talk a little bit about the culture in your district, and do you have an example that illustrates the culture you're going to talk about?
Well, I think that the professional learning days that we have really exemplify our culture. We believe that the most important, and I'll say this over and over again, the most important thing that happens in school happens within the walls of the classroom.
Yep.
And because of that, teacher effectiveness is crucial. Leadership effectiveness has to be there to support that. And so these professional learning days that we have carved out on a monthly basis, it's something that the parents understand, because the kids they're not in school, they're at home, and it's it speaks to the value that we impart into the teacher's work. Teachers, it's easy to get burned out in school, right? It's less likely to get burned out if you are recognizing as a teacher that your work is deemed to be valuable.
Don't you think it's interesting? We 85% of our budget generally, at least in a school district's budget, is spent on personnel.
Yeah.
And then how do we reinvest? Because I'm just going to guess your teacher retention high.
Very high.
Yeah, I mean, because you're pouring into them with resources and training to help them, do their job, be well trained. Same thing with administrators. Probably in general, probably retention is fairly high. But you might lose people because you train them up so well that they go on. I don't know if that's the case, but I could see that could be a potentially a challenge.
Well, we don't lose administrators very often because we pay them fairly well.
Oh, okay.
But administrators who do have a career mindset of wanting to move up in the districts, we're a training ground for superintendents. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. So what, within your system, you're investing in a lot of teachers, so what role is data playing in informing your teachers of their work, and what does that look like in the school district?
Yeah, formative assessments are crucial to how we are determining whether or not students are progressing in the way that they need to progress in order to learn what it is that they need to learn in the classroom. We have daily success periods that are 20 minutes long, and that's district-wide.
Yep.
And those are about, it depends on the...
So you started that some 20, and that's still in place?
That's still in place, yes.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And they're either 2 weeks long or 3 weeks, kind of depending upon what it is. But it's broken down into areas that are academically focused based on the student needs.
And then what about, so academic, what about the whole child, I would say, the behavioral, the attendance piece? What is that kind of data flowing in and looking like for teachers to have access to and all that kind of stuff?
As far as for teachers having access to that area, as far as behavioral, that's under development.
Okay, yeah.
So Enrollment Express is one of the new tools that we are using in conjunction with instituting new custom fields in PowerSchool, cool. and bringing in information from teachers or from parents. We have a cadre of new restrictions, permissions, and flags that we have put into the custom or created custom fields and custom pages in PowerSchool that teachers now have the ability through our reporting mechanism to be able to pull down particular groups of kids and said, okay, these particular kids have this particular need or condition, and that helps them to understand what may be going on in the home, what may be going on medically with the kids, and so that definitely brings in a different picture for them, for the kids.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if you're looking ahead at the future, like let's say 5 years, 2030, like what do you envision? Where do you feel like the district will, what do you hope the district will be in 5 years?
So we're located just on the outskirts of Hamilton County, Indiana, which Hamilton County has been in the top 20 growth areas in the country. Okay. From 1980 to 2015, I believe, Hamilton County experienced a growth that was in the top 5 in the country. And so I think that in the next 5 years or so, we'll start seeing that growth. And like I said, we're at about 1,000 students, I think, and half of those are from outside of the district. But I think that we will probably start seeing some exponential growth in our district within the next 5 years. And so, what's most important for me right now, as I'm nearing the end of my career, is setting up setting a good, strong foundation, both academically and operationally, in order to be able to receive that growth and not lose what we already have built.
Yeah, I mean that's sometimes the challenge. When you grow, how do you sustain that deep culture and the historical, just the culture that's built within that district? It's often hard to sustain if you grow fast too.
Right.
I'm just curious, in the future, or where are you at right now around AI? What is that looking like within the district? How is that being embraced or not embraced? Is it teachers have access to it, students do? Yeah, I mean, where are you in that journey?
That's an interesting question, and I think you go back to the understanding that in the academic world, parents really believe that they know what goes on in the school because they were students, right?
Yep.
They came up through K-12 and so they're experts in the area, and to some degree, we understand their viewpoint. They haven't had AI. They didn't come up through AI, and so they have a different take on AI than what we might have within the academic world right now. I think that when we roll out PowerBuddy, which is the version of AI, and we start having our parents use PowerBuddy to start asking about aspects of their children and their grades or their discipline, the things that are going on. That'll give the parents in the community a little bit more of a better foundation as to how AI can be used in instances that is not cheating. Because the talk typically centers around, well, how do we get students to stop cheating using AI? Well, let's talk about how we're going to use AI to increase and enhance our ability to gain information, to gain learning, to gain understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's out there. I mean, I think it's the conversation of, I don't think it's going away. So how do we embrace that, get everyone comfortable with it? And I think it's a good point that you're talking about, parents, depending upon where they're at too, or even in what they do on their day-to-day, some may be using it, some may not. And so, how do you build a framework? Or have you guys created like an AI task force or anything like that in the district yet?
Nope, haven't done that yet.
might be a upcoming to-do opportunity for you.
Yep.
So tell our listeners, this job is demanding, and like you said, you're ending towards the end of your career. What do you do to keep yourself sane?
Well, first of all, I love what I do.
Yeah, I can tell that.
Yeah.
I can feel that from you. You found your right calling for yourself, and I think that's kind of our job, is to help our kids find the passion. You found your passion, and you've been a just right fit.
Yeah. And so when something is your passion, when something is, it's not work.
Yeah.
It's what you do, and it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And so decompressing is, it's not as an important element in your life. Now, when I do want to decompress, I fish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we have a family lake house, and
what are you fishing for?
Anything that's in that lake.
Okay.
Which is typically bass and panfish, bluegills, sunfish, and so forth.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, again, I appreciate you joining us on the Powercast. I love the conversation. It's exciting. I can sense your passion for the work that you're doing. And again, for our audience, thank you for joining us again. We hope you will subscribe to this, like and share. And until next time, thank you again for joining us on the Powercast.